Why, hello there, beautiful people. Caz the Blackheart, back with a brand new video. I apologize for being gone for as long as I was. I had some family issues going on. I'm not really allowed to talk about what exactly they were in public, so if you guys really want to know, just DM me and I'll kind of sum it up for you. But I will be back. I do have a Bucks video coming out later on today, but we're going to start off with the NFL Divisional Round Playoff Recap. I was going to do a wild card recap, but I just couldn't get it done in time. So my apologies to you guys on that. But let's get started with the first game of the weekend. We had the San Francisco 49ers dominate the Minnesota Vikings 27-10. Now, in the first half, Minnesota did get a really nice touchdown from Stephon Diggs. And everybody thought, well, maybe the Vikings might make a game of this one. I did actually have the Vikings winning this game. Actually, I went 0 for 4 on my picks. Yes, I picked against my Titans. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But I thought Minnesota had a pretty good chance because I thought they had a good enough offense to move against this Niners defense. But I apologize, Niners fans. I just slept on the... It wasn't that I slept on the defense. I just thought Minnesota could hang with the Niners. And unfortunately, that was not the case. I mean, you can't really blame Kirk Cousins too much for this game. I mean, as much as you just got to give credit to the Niners defense for being damn good. It's like Richard Sherman said, everybody wants to make an excuse for why he's so good. Richard Sherman is still damn good, even, you know, quote-unquote past his prime. He's still been like a top 5 corner in this league, if not the best. Pro Football Focus has him as the best cornerback in the league this year, but I'm not so sure about that, but he's definitely top 5, and he's not worse than 5th. I don't think he's worse than 3rd, honestly. But yeah, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to this Niners running game as well. Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert ran all over this Vikings defense. They're supposed to be so good at stopping the run, but they didn't do a very good job of stopping the run in this one. They didn't really get after Garoppolo too much either. They did get 2 sacks, and they actually got 4 QB hits, so they did get after him a little bit, but it didn't really affect much of anything. I mean, Garoppolo didn't have that good of a game. He went 11 for 19, 131 yards, but it's kind of the same thing with Tennessee and Ryan Tannehill, where he doesn't have to have a good game because the run game is going so well for them. Coleman and Mostert are doing such a good job that all he has to do is make a few good passes through the game and he's good. And that's exactly what he had. That's exactly what he did. Coleman went for like 100, had 2 touchdowns. Mostert went for like 58 on 12 carries. I mean, Matt Breida didn't do too much, but Breida has been hurt, if I remember correctly. So good on the Niners. They're going to be a very tough team to beat in the next 2 games. If they can win the NFC Championship game, I mean, they're going to be the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl at this point, in my opinion. Although some people might say another team is, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But good win for the Niners. Tough luck for the Vikings, but I mean, hell, no one expected them to win last week against New Orleans. Say what you want about that game. I mean, Minnesota took it to New Orleans last week, and you got to give them props for that. Now we're going to move on to my boys, the Tennessee Titans, who pulled off a huge upset victory over the Baltimore Ravens. 28-12 was the final. And what a big game for Derrick Henry. 30 carries, 195 yards on the ground. He also had a passing touchdown as well. A little Tim Tebow jump pass. He also had 2 catches for 7 yards. So he had yards of total offense in his game. And, you know, Earl Thomas was talking all this crap about, oh, New England didn't seem interested in tackling him. We're a bit of a different team. Well, Derrick Henry done turned him around, so... But Earl Thomas did have a pretty good game. I mean, he did hit Henry a few times. He did get a sack on Tannehill as well. So, I mean, he's getting a lot of criticism just because of what he said before the game. But, I mean, he did his part for the most part. He led the team in tackles. He had a sack and a tackle for a loss. And he had a QB hit. I mean, he did what he could. It's just, I don't know. Derrick Henry's just an imposing runner, guys. I mean, and he's big and fast. Like, he's hard to bring down. So it's like, I don't think he really took into account just how big Derrick Henry is. But like tackling a guy who's like 6'4", 245, 250 pounds or whatever. Well, he's 6'3", 247. That's what he's listed at on ESPN. But I mean, still, that's a tough guy to bring down. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill, 7 for 14, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this game. He also ran for 1 as well. Tannehill did what he had to do once again. I mean, he didn't have what you would call like an amazing game, but he did what he had to do. And that pass to Khalif Raymond was beautiful. Jonnu Smith with that beautiful touchdown where he got his butt cheek inbound. Amazing. I mean, I had Baltimore winning this game, even as a diehard Titans fan that you all know I am. Like, I thought Baltimore would win. But I told people all week, I think Baltimore was going to win, or I thought Baltimore was going to win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee did. But what surprised me about this was going up 14-0, like, in the second quarter. Like, I did not expect that. Like, Tennessee just came out and punched Baltimore right in the mouth. I mean, the first drive started off, like, the game started off pretty poorly for Tennessee. I think they went 3 and out to begin the game. But they bounced back. They realized it's a marathon, not a sprint. And they took care of business. Defense played pretty well, in my opinion, as well. I think they did a pretty good job of slowing down Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense. I mean, Logan Ryan had a really good game. He had 13 tackles. Kevin Byard balled out, got a pick and 11 tackles. But I would say the 3 unsung heroes for this defense in this game that a lot of people are not giving credit to right now are Tremaine Brock, Kamale Correa, and David Long. Especially David Long, because he had to step up with Jayon Brown hurting his shoulder last week. David Long stepped up, made a lot of really good stops, and I feel like he had a really good game. Correa did the best that he could to slow down Lamar, and I think he did a pretty good job of slowing him down, both him and Harold Landry. And Tremaine Brock did a really good job in coverage for the most part. He also made a few pretty good stops as well. Definitely got to give him a lot of credit. Tremaine Brock has low-key been like a really big acquisition for Tennessee. I think pretty much for the most part, he was able to do his job and not get burned throughout the game. So you definitely got to give him credit for that. Jarrell Casey absolutely had an amazing game. He got after Lamar Jackson. If he was about 5 years younger, if it was like Jarrell Casey from like 2014 or something like that, ooh, he would have had more than 2 sacks in this game. But he definitely got into there, and he got after him in this game. Correa did have a sack as well, and Harold Landry also had a sack. Jeffrey Simmons got a fumble recovery on Jarrell Casey's strip sack. But it's a very good game for Tennessee, and I was telling everybody, it don't matter who we play against next week, Houston or Kansas City. Tennessee can definitely hang with both of them. But let's talk about the Ravens for a little bit real quick, because I've been seeing Lamar Jackson get a lot of criticism for what a game he had. Now, the first interception was not his fault. I don't think you guys can blame him for the ball going off of Mark Andrews' hands. That was not his fault at all. It was just an unlucky play for the Ravens, and Kevin Byard was in the right place at the right time. So you can't get too mad at Lamar for that. The second pick was absolutely his fault, though. I mean, you have to see Kenny Vaccaro's right there. And then he's trying to check it down into the flat, and Vaccaro is able to break on it. I mean, if you're going to throw that pass, you got to throw it higher and more to the back shoulder of the receiver. But instead, he throws it low, and Vaccaro's right there for the pick. I really think that just ended any chance of Baltimore coming back in the game. But he did account for over 500 yards, matter of fact, for the Ravens. 365 through the air and 143 on the ground. He did what he could. He just didn't really have a whole lot of help. I know Mark Ingram was hurt. I know Mark Andrews was hurt. Both of them were playing hurt in this game. So neither of them were really big factors in this game for the most part. Hollywood Brown had a really good game, although most of his yardage was in garbage time. I think the big issue with the Ravens, and I think Jim Nantz actually alluded to this during the game. So the 2 times that they had a big deficit in the regular season against the Chiefs and against the Browns the first time they played them, they couldn't come back because their style of offense pretty much. And it's like pretty much their style of offense is predicated with the running, obviously, like with Lamar running, Ingram running, Gus Edwards running, like pretty much somebody running the football for them. And then throwing the ball down the field, like, but over the middle and not near the sideline. And it's just like the way their offense was set up, it was built to build and sustain leads by carving up the defense with the run game. It wasn't really built for the passing game. I mean, I love Hollywood Brown, don't get me wrong. Willie Snead's pretty good. Mark Andrews proved to be a really good receiving option as well. You still got Hayden Hurst and Nick Boyle as well. I mean, the Ravens have a lot of good receiving options, but they don't really have like a game-breaking receiver yet. I mean, Hollywood can become that, but he's not that yet. And it's just like, for the standard of the NFL, Lamar Jackson really didn't have that great of a season passing the ball. I mean, yeah, he had 36 touchdown passes, but I think he only had like 31,000, I think no higher than 32,000 passing yards this year. Regardless, whatever it was, for 15 games even, like, that's not very good. And it's like, I get it. The Ravens haven't had to pass a whole lot because of the way their offense is set up, they jumped out to big leads early on, so they wouldn't have to pass the ball anymore. So I get it. But not having to pass the ball pretty much the entire season for the most part made Baltimore a victim of their own success on Saturday. I mean, they hadn't had to throw much, and then Lamar had to throw 59 times on Saturday. And it's like, once they fell behind last night, it was tough for them to come back because as much as Lamar was running, like they were killing time pretty much. They were playing right into Tennessee's hands for the most part. And Tennessee was able to take advantage of that. But yeah, Baltimore has nothing to be ashamed of in my opinion. I mean, 14-2. There are not many teams in the NFL who have gone 14-2, so definitely got to give them credit for that. But Tennessee is going to be the team moving on to the AFC Championship to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, who came back from a 24-0 deficit in the second quarter to win 51-31. And I don't even know what to say about this game as far as Houston's concerned. I mean, you had a 24-point lead, and you just straight up blew it, man. Oh, my goodness. They started off the scoring with Watson finding Stills for 54 yards and a touchdown. Then Kansas City went 3 and out, had their punt blocked, and it was returned for a touchdown. So Houston was up 14-0 at that point. Kansas City started driving a little bit, but then even after getting into Houston territory, they had to punt. Houston ended up having a punt, but then Tyreek Hill muffed it. Houston gets the ball back at the 6, and then they score a touchdown 2 plays later to make it 21-0. The Chiefs go 3 and out. Houston drives down the field, gets a touchdown, so it's 24-0. At that point, Twitter's going crazy. Everybody's saying, "Oh, it's over. Houston got this. Kansas City choked once again." Blah 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 blah. But then Mecole Hardman gets a really good return up to the Houston 42. Mahomes gets 2 plays. That's all he needs, and he gets a touchdown. So now it's 24-7. But then Houston, I mean, honestly, the play calling was smart for the most part, but then the incompletion really screwed things up a little bit. I mean, it's a little too early to like milk the clock any damn ways. I think they were trying to build their lead even more. And then they run a fake punt. I mean, there's 8.5 minutes left in the half. I mean, just punt the damn ball away. Like, why are you trying to get cute right now? Like, you're trying to you run a fake. And granted, it almost worked out for them. Like, they got tackled like 2 yards short. But it's like now you're giving Patrick Mahomes a short field to work with if you fail. That's just one of those situations where the bad of that situation way outweighs the good. And you might as well just punt it away. Give Mahomes a longer field to work with. But nope. Then Mahomes, it takes him like 4 plays to get into the end zone. And the Chiefs make it a 10-point game. Then Houston fumbles the ensuing kickoff, and that gives Kansas City the ball at the 6-yard line. And then it takes them 3 plays, but they get into the end zone to make it 24-21. Houston puts together a little bit of a drive. They get into Kansas City territory, then they have to punt it away. And then Kansas City is able to drive down the field and get into the end zone to give them the 28-24 lead. And at that point, I'm just like, yeah, Houston's definitely losing this game. They have no momentum whatsoever after starting off with so much. I really thought Houston was going to blow the doors off Kansas City after the 24-point lead. But then I forgot they're the Texans, and this is what they do. They just are a mediocre franchise overall. They miss a field goal, and it could have made it a 1-point game going into the half. Maybe it would have salvaged the half for Houston a little bit, but missing that field goal really sucked. And Fairbairn has always been pretty reliable, especially from like 50-something yards. Like, he's been pretty reliable his entire career. That was just an unlucky miss. And from there, Kansas City just opened the floodgates. They ended up going up to a 41-24 lead before Houston scored another touchdown. Then Kansas City scored another one to make it 48-31. And that's all she wrote. I mean, there's really not much you can say about this game for Houston. They just completely blew it. You had a 24-point lead once again. And I can't even believe it, man. Like, I'm happy the Texans lost. I mean, again, I have confidence against either one of these teams if I'm a Titans fan. Well, which I am, obviously, but you know what I mean. But you got to give credit to Kansas City for this one. I mean, they just proved how high-powered their offense is, but their defense is going to be the bane of their existence. Like, if they don't go to the Super Bowl, like, it's on their defense at this point because the offense played really well. I feel like Damian Williams didn't have the best game in the world, but he still had a few good runs here or there. But Patrick Mahomes is the problem right now. That's who Tennessee has to focus on. I mean, you just shut down Lamar Jackson, but the big difference between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, well, no, we're not even going to take it down to the quarterbacks. The big difference between the Ravens offense and the Chiefs offense. The Ravens offense, like I said, isn't built to come from behind. I think the Chiefs proved yesterday that they can come from behind. They were down 24-0 in the second quarter and came back, won 51-31. So Tennessee better not take their foot off the gas pedal like Houston did, because that's exactly what the Texans did, and that's pretty much why they ended up losing. Not even pretty much, that is why they lost the game. You know what I mean, though. I mean, Travis Kelce went off. 10 catches, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? That Titans secondary is going to have to pack a lunch next week going into Arrowhead. But a good win for Kansas City. Now, can Andy Reid get over his championship game demons? He's won one championship game his entire career. The NFC Championship in 2004, I want to say. It might be 04, 05, I don't remember. Whatever the first year with T.O. was when he was with Philly. But Andy Reid, I believe, is 1-5 in conference championship games, and actually he is 1-8 all time against the Titans. So, like I've said from the New England game to now, if you think that the Chiefs have an easy road to the Super Bowl right now, if you think the road just opened up with Baltimore losing, you are sadly mistaken. I don't know if Tennessee is going to win the game. I mean, we'll talk about that later when I have the preview for the conference championship games, but don't sleep on the Titans. That's all I'm going to say. This isn't even as a Titans fan. This is as an NFL fan, honestly. I know, like, it's hard to differentiate the two because y'all might think I have my Titans blinders on, but it's like, don't sleep on the Titans. Y'all been doing that all season. We took down your golden boy in Tom Brady. We took down the new golden boy in Lamar Jackson, and... well, not we, because I don't play for the team. I mean, honestly, if they want to sign me to a contract, I'll take it. I'm kind of broke, so. But we'll talk. We ain't talking about that right now. And last but not least, the Green Bay Packers knocked off the Seattle Seahawks 28-23. And I actually went to the bar for this game, just like I did for the Tennessee game. And a few of my friends who were big Packers fans were there. And it's like during the second half when Seattle was making like a little bit of a comeback, I'm like, I don't know, guys, is Seattle going to come back and win this game? Sorry about the voice crack, by the way. My voice is still gone from screaming my lungs out on Saturday. But I was like, is Seattle going to come back and win this game? And they kept saying, I don't know. I hope not. Like, they weren't even sure because Seattle, like, was making a furious comeback, but it just fell short. And honestly, I know a lot of people are going to complain about the Jimmy Graham call on the last play of the game. Jimmy Graham had the first down. And honestly, there's no reason for me to believe that Green Bay was not going to get the first regardless. But they basically had the first down marker in front. No, well, the Fox Sports or whatever, they had like the first down marker behind, or in front of actually. No, it was behind where the first down marker was actually at. So Graham definitely had the first down. But even if he didn't get it, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Jones would have got the first down. But, yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams had a huge game in this one. 160 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 receptions. Tyler Lockett had a really big game as well. 9 catches, 136, and a touchdown. Both these receivers did a really good job in this game. And Russell Wilson didn't have a bad game by any means. I mean, he was getting beat up a lot in this game. He got sacked 5 times. But, I mean, we all know the Seahawks offensive line isn't that good. Marshawn Lynch had 2 touchdowns as well. And I think he needs to just hang it up after this game, honestly. I know he came back to, because he had some unfinished business with the Seahawks or whatever, but he got to go take care of his chicken, like he said in, the post-game. If y'all haven't seen the post-game conference or press conference with Marshawn Lynch, make sure you guys go check that out. I'll probably leave a link in the description if I can remember to do it. I probably won't. If I don't, you know the drill, guys. If I don't remember to put the link in when I say I'm going to put a link in, just roast me in the comment section, tell me to do it, and I will eventually do it. But, yeah, I mean, there's just not much to say. I mean, Green Bay kind of was pissing me off late in the game because it's like you have a lead. Your lead just pretty much disintegrated in the second half. And it's like, oh, they're still throwing the football. What are you throwing the football for? I get it. They're a passing team. But it's just like, at a certain point, you just got to feed Aaron Jones and let him ride it out. I know Aaron Rodgers is like the golden boy. I know he's like the man in Green Bay, but it's just like, and it's like, I guess the passing worked like on the 3rd and 8, but it's just like under 2 minutes to go, 2nd and 8, you're throwing the damn ball. What are you doing, bro? Like, just run the damn ball. Like, this is exactly what Matt LaFleur did last year. Like, he did this a lot with Tennessee, and it just, like, really pissed me off. Just run the damn ball, man. Like, stop getting cute. I mean, granted, it worked on 3rd and 8. Fine. It worked. I'll take the L there. And it worked on the 3rd and 9. I mean, it almost didn't, but Jimmy Graham had the first down. I don't care what no one says. You know, stop trusting Fox. Y'all trusting Fox way too damn much. Like, they had the marker behind where the actual marker should have been. So, stop trusting Fox. But anyways, now we are down to 4 teams. We got 2 really good games coming up next week. We got my Tennessee Titans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. My little brother's a huge Chiefs fan, by the way. So, well, he's going back to school this weekend, so we're not going to have no beef on Sunday. But, yeah, like, it's going to be a tumultuous week for us. We're going to be talking a lot of crap back and forth. We're not even really talking crap because me and him aren't like crap talking football fans like that. But yeah, it's going to be a good week of football. We got the Titans taking on the Chiefs, and then we got the Niners taking on the Packers. So let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win these games. My picks will come out probably Saturday, if not Sunday morning. We'll have to see. I'll probably record it around Thursday or Friday, but let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. And you guys have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day, night, or whenever you're watching this. Like I always say, guys, no matter what happens, make sure you keep that mofo rolling. I love y'all 3,000. I'm Audi 5,000. Deuces.